G'day my friends, if we haven't met, my name is Sam. If you've turned on this video, you may have read the title. Today's practice is a restorative hip opening sequence done all from the floor. With limited use of our hands, we're going to be working on taking the hips through a full range of motion. We'll be using the hands to support, but without lifting off the mat, if that makes any sense. So no downward facing dogs, no standing postures, bottom or back on the floor at all times. No props necessary. If you've got a cushion nearby, a pillow, a bolster, that may come in handy for a few points throughout the practice, but I want you to get into something comfortable. If it's cold where you are, get into something warm. This is a great practice to do before bed or when you just need to slow down. As always, when you're ready, we'll get right into it. We're going to begin today's practice laying down on the back. Once you come on down, bring the soles of your feet together, let your knees fall away from one another, and rest your hands wherever they feel comfortable right now. Just taking a few more conscious breaths. And as you breathe, I want you to notice if the inner thighs and the groin feel as though they can relax, or if the muscles of the inner groin feel almost like they're holding on, like there's that resistance, that tension. To think about this another way, does it feel as though the knees can fall towards the floor, or does it feel like the muscles of the inner thigh and groin are starting to draw the knees towards each other and up a little higher? If the latter, that means we need to take a little more care and a little more control when moving through the inner thighs and the hips today, as we do have some of that resistance we need to work through. Last breath here. And then just use your hands to bring your knees towards each other. Once the knees draw in, we'll set the feet hip width distance apart and then cross the right ankle onto the left thigh. Once you set the ankle on the thigh without using the hands, we're going to try and move the right knee away from the face so there's an external rotation through the hip there, keeping the right foot flexed. Then just reach your arms forwards to the front of the room, lift your head off the mat. We're going to do our best here to see if we can bring the inner part of this right ankle as close as we can to the forehead without using the hands. So you lift the left foot and start to squeeze the left knee in towards the chest. Both feet are flexed, both knees are bent. As you move the left knee towards you, try to move the right knee a little further away from you. And again, we're doing this without using the hands, so keep reaching the arms forward. There's a little more space. Maybe the forehead can meet the inner part of the ankle or the inner part of the shin or the calf there on the right leg. Take a breath. And we'll set the left foot down. Allow both knees to fall off towards the right-hand side of the room. When they come on down, you may need to adjust your left foot out a little bit wider so that it feels comfortable here. Feeling the weight of the right ankle and right foot gently pulling on the left hip a little. You're getting a little more of an assisted release through the outer part of this left hip. The muscles that support the outer hip are the gluteus medius, or the mid-glute, and the TFL, the tensor fascia latae. Now both of these muscles work from the outside of the hip, and they wrap around the glute and come down the outside towards the knee. And that tract that runs down towards the knee is known as the ITB, or the iliotibial tract. A common space of tension and tightness as the ITB does do a lot of work. We'll keep the right ankle where it is. Bring the hips back through center, and then just close the gap between the thighs, so the right leg will cross all the way over. Now we'll shuffle the hips a little more to the right-hand side of the room and let the knees fall to the left. We'll do our best to spread the arms away from one another and see if we can keep both shoulder blades grounded on the mat. Now with the wrapping action of the right leg around the left, we're getting, again, a little more of a pull, a little more of an assisted stretch through the outside of the right hip this time. Gently unravel the legs first, then bring the hips back through center. Once the hips settle down, this time left ankle is going to cross onto the right thigh. You flex that left foot, try to move the left knee away from you without using the hands. And then reach the arms out in front of you, lift the head off the mat, and again without using hands we try and draw the right knee in towards the chest, flex both feet. Right knee gets closer towards you, left knee is moving away from you. And you keep those knees bending, keep those feet flexing. Gently soften, right knee down onto the mat, left ankle stays where it is, both knees will fall over towards the left-hand side of the room. Again, adjust your feet as needed so that that feels comfortable for you. Spreading out the arms nice and wide. Working to see if both shoulder blades can continue to stay grounded on the mat. Just allowing the breath to travel gently. As we come back through center, we're going to close the gap between the thighs, so left thigh crosses all the way over. Shuffle the hips over to the left-hand side of the mat before allowing knees to fall off towards the right-hand side. And again, adjusting as much as you need. I think there's a real indulgence with a practice all done from the floor, knowing that we don't need to be up on the hands. There is a little more of a relaxing, if you will, element attached to that idea. Knowing that everything being done in today's practice will be done with support of the floor. We'll never have to lift onto the feet and lift our bum off the mat. We'll be nice and low. That's not to say that we won't be working throughout the practice. Gently unravel the legs first. We'll bring the hips back through center and then take the arms down alongside the body. Press the elbows into the earth. From here, start to press through the feet and the elbows, lift the hips up and off the mat. And feel the shoulder blades roll towards each other, maybe interlace the hands if that's available for you. Inner thighs hugging towards each other, so the muscles we worked to stretch at the very beginning of practice, they're now trying to gently hug in. So instead of the knees falling away from one another, they're trying to remain parallel towards the front edge of the mat. Then mindfully release the hands. We'll lower the hips down. Then just start to reach your arms out in front. We'll rock up towards a seat. Nice work. We're going to take the feet roughly as wide as the corners of the mat, or the edges of the mat, I should say. Resting on the heels, we're just going to move out through the hips from side to side. So flex the feet towards you so that you're balancing on the heels, and then take the hands behind the back. Roll the shoulder blades back to open through the chest and shoulders. We're going to let both knees drop off to the right-hand side, feeling the left knee fall inside the right ankle if you can. If the feet are running into one another or the foot is underneath the knee, take the feet out a little bit wider there. We'll lift up and over through center, let both knees fall off to the left. So we're just working some external rotation, but also some internal rotation. So one leg is moving externally, in this case the right, one is moving internally, in this case the left. And then we just start to shift from side to side. So The longer we're here, I want you to see if the hands can become a little bit lighter as you shift from side to side. As the knees move to right, maybe the left hand lifts up. And then as the knees move to left hand grounds, maybe the right hand can start to rise. So we're letting legs do a little more of the work and the arms do a little less. Maybe the hands can float. Now, if the hands can float, just reach them out in front of you. They'll start to move from side to side. So hands will move more to the right as the knees drop to the left and vice versa. But I want you to see if you can move really slow, because what this is also going to do is massage the glute muscles underneath you. I know for myself, that is my favorite part of this movement. It's not the internal and external rotation for me. It's that gentle glute massage you get underneath the bottom. Try to keep the feet flexing towards you. Again, it's just the heels we're feeling against the earth as we shift from side to side. And we'll do one more either side. Lifting up and over, right hand side. Lifting up and over, left hand side. Nice one. Hopefully you felt that underneath. Come back through center. We'll cross the right shin out in front of us. Take the left shin back behind us. So if you look at your legs, right shin parallel with the front edge of the mat, left shin parallel with the left edge. We're going to square the torso over the front right thigh and fold over. We've practiced together before. You know there's an option to take it deeper. You can take your left forearm to the sole of your right foot, interlace the fingers and try and move your forehead a little closer towards the inner part of that right ankle, just like we did when we were down on the back. Letting the breath slow down. Letting the head become heavy. The back of the neck long. And lifting up through a seat. Use your hands for support here. We're going to swing the left leg out in front of us. Then once the left leg is long, we're going to cross the right ankle atop the left thigh. Boom. Use your hands just to lift your bottom and try and slide your bottom back a fraction before lowering it back down. So the right foot is going to stay flexed, so to the left. We want to move the right knee away from us without using the hands. Again, just like we practiced when we were down on the back. If it feels like that's a lot of pressure on your left knee, you may need to just slide that right ankle up a little higher so it's more towards the thigh. With both feet flexing, see if you can allow the torso to fold forwards any amount. There might be a lot of space there, there might be a little. If you feel like you have a little more room to go, you can use your hands here for support, or your arms rather. That left forearm can go around the outside of the right foot, just like it did in that deer pose setup. And your right forearm can press gently on the inner part of your right thigh. So left arm is moving up, right arm is moving down. You keep both of those feet flexing as you soften the head. Again, the arms are just an option. You can just stay in your fold if that's comfortable for you. And then bring yourself up towards the seat. Left leg will stay where it is. We're going to pick up the right leg. Use the hands to start with, hand around the foot and the knee. Then if there's more space, use the inner eyes of the elbow. Inner eye of the left elbow around the right foot, inner eye of the right elbow around the right knee. And try to shimmy so the hips feel centered. Lift the chest and then lift the shin. Draw it in towards you nice and close. Maybe you flip the hands and the fingers grip hold of one another. Now I keep repeating myself, but both feet are flexed in this position. Next part of the practice is just a little bit of fun. We're going to try and see if we can keep the left foot firm on the floor, the left heel that is. So flex the toes towards the face. We're going to start to lower back down. Do this slowly and try not to let that left foot rise off the mat. That's it. As you come on down, if there's space, you look back over the right shoulder and imagine the right knee was getting a little closer to the floor. At the same time, you push the left heel out in front of you and even flex into your left glutes. Wow, I can feel all sorts of things going on in my left hip more so than my right hip here. So hopefully you guys can feel something as well. Let me know in the comments below if you feel a lot in this pose or not much. Take a breath. And we'll gently turn the chest back through center without overthinking it. Left heel stays on the floor. We come back up towards a seat. Nice work. You're going to set the right ankle on the left thigh again, and then we're going to try, notice I use the word try, to bend up the left knee and find parallel left shin with the top edge of the mat. So this right here is a set up for a pose called Agni Stambhasana, a fire log pose, commonly double pigeon. This is a super challenging posture, and in my own practice normally I would have maybe a bolster or a pillow underneath my bottom. I'd have a block underneath the left knee, and I'd have a block underneath the right foot as well. That way the right knee could get a little lower down towards the left ankle. If your right knee is close to your left ankle, you can fold forward here, and that's fine. What we want to focus on is the shins are parallel. They're on top of each other. So rather than coming back towards your hips, your feet are moving away from each other. The shins are moving forward as the hips move back. If this is a lot for you and you want a lighter option, instead of the right ankle resting on the left thigh, take the right foot to the floor in front of the left knee and then fold over the thighs that way. Still keeping some flex in the feet just to keep our mind active. And try not to completely bust all your energy just to get in that deeper variation. If taking the right foot in front of the left knee allows you to sit deeper and even relax a little bit more, then let that be the option you take. Last breath. The hands walk back towards you. Use your hands for support. My goodness. We're going to extend both legs out long in front of us. Whew. And give them a shake. Now, you can probably understand why they refer to that as fire log pose. My heavens. That is a doozy. As always, we have to do it on the other side. I know. We have two legs. That's all we have to do. So we're going to set up here for the deer pose on the left-hand side. So that left shin parallel with the top edge of the mat. Right shin's going to become parallel with the right edge of the mat. Now, if your right knee and your left heel are really close towards each other, that's telling you that you need to move that right leg further backwards. You square your torso over the left leg and allow yourself to fold. You could fold straight over the thigh, moving forwards, or you could take right forearm to the sole of the left foot, interlace the fingers, and see if the head can move closer to the left ankle. Again, head is dropping. Breath slowing down. And we rise with control. Use the hands. Right leg swings out in front of us. Once it does, left ankle crosses onto the right thigh. Again, lift it as high as it needs to go so it's not putting too much pressure on your right knee. Lift and lower your bottom. Try to shuffle the hips back a fraction. And without using the hands at the start, try to move the left knee away from you. See what that feels like. Both feet are flexing. Maybe you work to fold forward if there's some space available. If you want to take it a fraction deeper, right forearm to the outside of the left foot. Left forearm to the inside of the left thigh. So the left arm moves down, the right arm lifts up. Feet stay flexed. We fold. Always taking the options that are serving your body. Don't let today's practice be a time where you just try and push yourself. this practice specifically, we're looking more towards that restorative nature. Asking your body what it needs and then moving in a way that honors that. Think of this like a conversation you're having with yourself rather than an argument. Come back up through a seat. We're going to pick up this left leg. Again, use the hands to start with, and then if there's some elbow action available, inner eye of the right elbow comes around the foot, inner eye of the left elbow around the knee, and then you try and square your hips to the front of the room, and then lift the chest and lift the shin as high as it will go. Keeping the feet flexing, that's a very important part of this process. If we want to play, right leg is so strong, foot is flexed, quad is flexed. As we lower, bring the chin to chest, feel a rounding through the spine and try to lower with control. Right heel still on the floor. Look back over the left shoulder, see if left knee can move a little closer to the floor. It might just be a centimeter, a millimeter, an inch, whatever the unit of measurement is that you choose. Then you push the right heel to the front of the room. You flex the right glutes as you continue to take the left knee back behind you. Take a breath. And we square our torso to the front of the room without overthinking it. We rise back up. Wow! Left ankle crosses on the right thigh again. Reset your hips. Now we go for the Agni Stambhasana, fire log pose here on the opposite side. We try to bend up the right knee, so right thigh or right shin rather is also parallel with the top edge of the mat. Try and lift the hips, shuffle them back a fraction. If you can see my legs here, my left foot, it's not resting on the thigh, right? That makes the pose quite a lot easier. The entire ankle is coming off the edge of that right thigh. And again, this means that my knee is just light years away from the left ankle. That's fine. Again, if you've got props, you can prop your bottom up, you can prop your right knee up a little bit, or if you just want to take the lighter option, you take the left foot in front of the right thigh, keep both feet flexing, and then work to fold. Breath slowing, head dropping. Wiggle the toes every now and then so you know there's still some sensation going on down there. Last inhale. Slowly, we walk the hands back towards us. Again, use those hands for support. Oh, we unravel. Extend the legs out nice and long in front of you. Give them a chance to shake out. Wow. I don't know about you, but I am certainly happy that we have no more legs today. I'm certainly happy that that's over. It will give you a lot more space and a lot more freedom later on. Right now, it might just feel like, ouch. That's okay. Yoga doesn't always have to be easy. There should be some challenge involved. Take the hands behind the back, behind the hips. Fingers point out to either side, bend up the knees, then pull the shoulder blades back, press to lift. So hips lift. Look at the belly button if you can. Try to keep inner thighs active. Draw those shoulder blades back, and then look up to the ceiling so the neck is still working. Last inhale. And we'll set the hips back down. Extend the legs out long in front. Adjust your hips so they're even. Flex the feet towards you. Reach the arms up nice and high. Take a breath. And exhale, we'll fold forwards over the front of the thighs. Keep the feet flexing if we can. And try to flatten the feet. Notice the pinky toe will probably try and draw in towards one another. So think about the ball joint of the big toe pressing forwards. The pinky side edge of the foot moving back towards you as you press the inner part of the foot to the front of the room. And then, of course, we drop the head.
want you to thank yourself for using this time today to move slow, to move with control, to focus on your breath, to focus on your breath, to have this conversation with yourself. Not an argument, but a contemplation. We ask ourselves what it is we need. As we move throughout the practice, we continue to communicate with our bodies, with movement, with the breath. We continue to ask ourselves, is this what we need? And for today, hopefully the answer is yes. Come back up to a seat. Shift your hips a little further forwards. As you send the feet a little further out in front of you, you're going to reach the arms forward and start to lower down slowly onto the back. As you come on down, I want you to feel everything relax, apart from the glutes. Flex the glutes one at a time. Maybe left side flexes first. Release the left, flex the right. So you feel the front of the hips start to lengthen a little. And flex both. And then we release. We release everything. You're taking this time. Stay nice and low on the mat. To move through the hips in the full capacity, the full range that was available for us today. So again, I want you to thank yourself for practicing. And as always, from me to you with thanks. Peace.